Hey, good evening to everybody out there. I've got just a real quick analysis of request network. This was a signal that Asian Whales had put out a little while ago to purchase around 2,600 satoshis and to hold it through basically through the end of quarter one. The signal says that they're getting ready to announce. Um, the mainnet release and some partnership announcement that's expected in quarter one of 2018. And the interesting part is quarter one is actually ending here within the next 6 days or so. Um, so the time frame here is rather short. This would be a short-term hold. Now, what I have outlined here is this line is the 2600 purchase point. What we actually saw, which is kind of interesting, we did see a nice little cup happen here, and a little bit of a handle that started to form. And when that happened, we saw a little bit of a breakout. We're starting to see some consolidation happening here. One of the interesting things that I'll kind of make a couple points on is if you haven't purchased, you might be a little too late getting on the boat. Couple things also are there were no targets that were mentioned here. So I kind of want to talk about a couple different options that you've got. So if you haven't bought in, in my experience, if you're going to be basing it off of signals, you're going to wait for this to drop back down under 2600. And as far as a good target would go, a conservative trader would take some profits around 2900 to 2950. Take out maybe some additional at 3000, but much higher than that. That's it's really probably going to cap out probably around 3500. That's going to be where I'm expecting this to go. I don't expect it to go much higher than that. I tend to base a lot of my support and resistance levels not just on the fib retracement, but also taking a look at it based on volume. So we can see we had a definite spike in volume, and it just, earlier, actually yesterday now. So I'm using that as our new support at this point because we have gone higher. If we were below it, of course, that would turn into our resistance. When the price falls through where somebody bought in, usually that person is just looking to break even. So that's why it becomes a resistance level. And of course, once it goes through, and you can see it just happened here, right? So the price goes up. Maybe they take some profits up here, which is a wise thing to do. And as it comes down, they say, "Oh, well, it's right back to where I bought it from originally. So let me just buy more." And that's how this happened. That's why this becomes a support line. And whether or not it goes through or if it gets bounced off of there, you're definitely going to see this as validating that it is now a support level. We've got another decent amount of volume. Even though it's selling volume, it's still right around this level. So this is going to be a pretty decent area of support, at least for the time being, in the short term. Now, as far as where we're at right now, I'm not really seeing any decent patterns appearing. I do see that there is a rising pattern that's it's kind of moving its way up. But I would definitely look at some of these areas here for potential to take your profits. So I would look in this area, stagger your sells, move them up a little higher, and if it dips down, then just let it go. Maybe set some stop losses as well, especially once you get past 2900. It's hard to tell exactly what's going to happen. But if you just want to take just a real quick look all the way out at the 1 day chart to kind of see where I'm getting some of these values and targets from, again, I'm basing a lot of this off of volume spikes. So I have this capped out at about 61, 67, starting down here at about 900, and we can see that there, it's pretty valid. There's a lot of points where these fib retracement lines are completely validated, which is why I'm thinking when it does go up, and you can see it actually happened back at the end of February. you can see right here, it's a a textbook resistance level here at this fib retracement line. You can see it actually tried really hard to go through. You can see it actually moved all the way up to this fib retracement line, but it was completely rejected, brought down. Now that did break down the resistance that was there, which is what allowed it to go a little higher. And then all of these people that purchased, they're looking to take some profits, and that's what made it kind of go down to the next level. We saw some consolidation here, and then a dip, and then a spike, and now we're on our way back up. We've got three green candles, which is a pretty bullish sign, and especially the size of these candles on a 1 day chart. It's pretty good. We can see that we actually had 4 green candles here, but the bodies are pretty small and the wicks were extremely long. So that tells me that it wasn't really a good indicator that at this point it was going to continue to rise. But these 3 green candles are definitely a very bullish sign. You might start to see maybe a little bit of sideways, but looking into the future, if we're taking this all the way out to the end of the month, you've got a decent amount of time that this may take to get up to this profit zone. And if it continues to go up and for some reason it happens to go up to 4,000, 4,200, that's great. But if you do sell in this area and you see it continue to rise, I strongly suggest to just walk away and just let it do its thing. Take your profits that you made and don't try and buy back in at a higher price, because when you have something that goes on a run like this, just like anything else, it has to correct, it has to come down. So if you do want to buy back in, if it does happen to spike up, wait for a correction and be patient before you do buy back in. So that's what I've got on Request Network. I'll be doing another one on Neo here in just a moment. So I hope you enjoyed the video. I'll talk to you guys later. Have a good night.